And good afternoon and welcome back to Luminary Leaders Live. My name is Shelly Harrison and I am your host. And I have the privilege of being able to meet people all over the country and have phenomenal guests like I do today. You'll meet her in just a moment. I just want to mention that at Luminary Leaders, we are celebrating Women's History Month. So my guest today, she'll be on Friday on this broadcast to give her insight on women's history. And we've had a couple of videos that have already shown Monday and a few other days. So stay tuned for those inspiring messages from women that have really given so much insight and a lot of just heartfelt stories. So we're celebrating that, like I mentioned, all week. And then next week, we have another one with Karen Anderson. So just want to make sure everybody knows that. And also, in terms of happy birthday, I want to give a happy birthday to Daniel Alexa. We work with Daniel, and Daniel, I hope you're having a wonderful birthday. And we hope that you celebrate all day long and all week by that, just that's a great way to celebrate your birthday. So happy birthday, Daniel. And now I want to bring on LaVonne Shields. She is my guest today, and I'm going to bring on LaVonne. Hi, LaVonne.
Hi.
How are you? You're backstage.
I'm good.
I know you're probably backstage thinking, oh my goodness, what's this going to be like today? And I have to say that you are my very first guest where I was doing Speaker Central, which was a podcast and it wasn't even video. And you're my first guest and we've come a long way, huh?
Yeah. It's been,
Yeah.
been a hell of a ride.
Oh, I know. It's been so much fun. And, I just want to point out that, this is a premium episode because LaVonne is a very special guest. I've been working with LaVonne personally for 5 years or longer through the Inland Empire Women's Business Center. And she is my accountability coach. And LaVonne is the accounting strategist. So she's just done a lot of phenomenal work. She loves numbers. You're going to find out a little bit today about our guest. But LaVonne, let's get right into this. You started this company a long time ago, and give us kind of a little backstory of how you started your company.
So it's a funny journey because I don't think I was ever really meant to work for people in like a regular job type setting. I don't think I was designed for that. So my business came about when I had been working in a bank. Oddly enough, I was working in the bank in the accounting department, and I was seeing how some of the business loans were coming about,
Yeah.
and I was like, there needs to be a business development center. And I was like, I
Oh,
want to be a business, which is so crazy, so crazy. There needs to be some sort of small business development center, not even knowing whether one was brewing or if there one already existed, whatever. But this was back in 1999, 98, 99. And I was like, I'm going to need to start a business. And that's where the whole concept started from. It has evolved from bookkeeping to more advanced accounting, CFO work for smaller business owners, to training and speaking and a lot more. But that's where it started. In all honesty, in 1999, when I realized I don't think I do well as an employee, and I should probably figure out a way, another way of generating income.
oh God. And I know that feeling. Oh my gosh, because I am so much happier as an entrepreneur, and your guidance, has put me in the position I'm in today. So I appreciate that because
I've just been along for the ride. This has been your show the entire time.
well, it's with your guidance that has really
Oh,
kind of
thank
set
you.
me on the path to really, doing what I love, and not having a job, right? Rather running my own company. So I've enjoyed the ride for sure, and working with you. Uh, with your company, I know that you've got so many things that you've created over the last few years, and one of them is the lab. And I want to talk about the lab because I think that's something
Mhm.
that entrepreneurs, we get into our businesses where we're, you know, day to day, we just get in the grind, we work in our business. Some of us are, not necessarily working on our business. However, your lab is something that really gets them focused on their numbers and their growth. So let's talk about that, because I think the lab is something that is quite extraordinary for business owners.
I'm happy that you said that because the smaller business owners were who I created it for. So the lab is a study hall for small business owners who want to understand their numbers, but just can't seem to justify making a payment to a bookkeeper at the moment. It just might not be the highest and best use of that amount of money per month where they are right now. Uh,
Mhm.
Selling and anything associated with selling, that's where your money needs to be going, marketing and getting money in the door. So what the lab does is allows you to, one, do the most important thing when it comes to managing your accounting as a small business owner, is choose block out time to do it. You got to
Yeah.
block time to do it. If you don't have the time to do it, that's how it ends up going, where you're a year behind on taxes, 3 years behind on taxes, because you just can't seem to get caught up, right?
Yeah.
So have that blocked out period of time where we twice a month for 90 minutes, and you get to do it. And while you're doing it, you also get to be in a community environment of people who have the same kind of questions. Like, hey, LaVonne, I'm trying to figure out how to record my sales and sales tax, and I'm using this outside system, but I want to make sure it's going into my QuickBooks or my Wave or whatever accounting software that they're using.
Mm.
And we work on it together, which usually ends up prompting another question. But the most important part about it is it creates accountability. Like, that you show up, you want to do it, you want to get it done, and you enjoy that part because you're understanding the numbers. And the objective is to give you an opportunity to see the value of the time it takes to manage the bookkeeping, and what you could be doing with that time, and can you justify the expense? Because you shouldn't be taking this on forever. This should not be, the thing that you do forever, whether it be you hire someone inside of your business, or
Mhm.
or you assign a task, because now you know exactly how long it should take to manage your accounting, right? You can
Yeah.
assign tasks of that to someone who's already in your company, but you can understand when you can create reasonable expectations for what they, one, should know,
Mhm.
and what you want them to produce for you, because now you understand the numbers. So it's really about being able to give the business owner an opportunity to step into that CEO role, where they can see, okay, this is the financial story of the activities that I'm doing out when I'm working in my business. And is this working? Is this not working? Let's see, figure out how I can make some adjustments. And that's where you want to get to. The lab is an excellent first step to getting to that space.
And they're in control of what's going on, rather than let things fester. Like, we're finishing first quarter, and I
Mhm.
when I was in the banking industry too, as you know, so I go by quarters. And when, the first quarter, we're almost done, March 31st, going into the second quarter, what do you think is key for business owners to really focus on, knowing that, oh my gosh, we're almost in the second quarter, and before you know it, we're going to be in fourth quarter. So what can they do now?
That comes heavy.
Yeah.
So now is the time to where, if you haven't filed your tax returns, you need to make a push to get that done, because you need to see what took place, so then you can compare it to what's taking place right now.
Mhm.
Because sometimes you don't realize that there's ebbs and flows of your business that you never really took into consideration, because cash flow had been good for a while, or because cash flow was so unpredictable, you weren't able to pinpoint that, oh, it's tied to, this is the time of year that our sales naturally go down, or they naturally spike. So
Mhm.
having some data that is crucial. You got to have the data. And then you're able to go, okay, so what does this mean for my business right now, so that you can course correct in the second quarter? Okay, so if this is what took place and we don't like it, what are we going to fix? If this is what took place and we like it a lot, how are we going to duplicate it so that we can even get more of it? So
Yeah.
you got to get the data. And that's what I love about the lab, is that technology has made the act of bookkeeping, getting data into your accounting software, so simple. And I mean,
Yeah. That's right.
it has streamlined the process so much. So once you get the past data, or wherever your starting point from is
Mhm.
situated, the moving forward is really easy. So if we're talking about 90 minutes twice a month, you should really have a handle on it at that point of being able to really see the forest for the trees when it comes to your numbers. So
Mm,
approaching fourth, so going into second quarter, oh, I said fourth, going into second quarter, if
right.
you're
Planet
able to, you planted that seed. If you're
yeah.
able to go into second quarter with at least an understanding of not only what took place in your previous year, but having your system set up where you can see what took place right now, it
Mhm.
allows you to do that course correction. Because as we know, we're in the end of first quarter right now. That means the time is not going to stop. The clock is not going to stop ticking. And so it's always going to be well, I'll get to it. And then you wonder why each year you're in the same position when it comes to your business. The numbers
Yes.
are telling you what needs to be done, what needs to be maintained, what needs to be modified. You just got to take the time to take a look at them.
That's exactly, exactly. And we are going to take a quick commercial break and we will be right back. And we are back with Luminary Leaders Live and my special guest on a premium episode, LaVonne Shields. She is the accounting strategist. And LaVonne, we were kind of talking about your lab that you have. And I know that people can sign up to be part of the lab. Where do they go to, learn more or just join the lab?
Well, you can definitely check it out at theaccountingstrategist.com. That's the website. You can see all the information about the lab right there and then go right in. First month is free. So you get to actually test it out for a month and then see if you like it. And then at that point, then it's $65 per month. And the good news is if you sign up now, if you sign up between now and April 15th tax deadline, you actually will get grandfathered into where we're adding the actual business accountability coaching session. So we're going to
Oh,
have a monthly accountability session where now that we know what the numbers are saying, now how do we strategically start using them to help us plan where we're going in the business. So if you sign up now, you get grandfathered into that program, because at that point the price actually goes up. So if you are interested, just go to theaccountingstrategist.com, check out the lab. It'll give you all the information, give you a chance to sign up. And like I said, the first month is free. So what do you have to lose, in all honesty?
that's a great deal. And I know that you love doing it. I mean, you're so passionate about the lab. And I want to make sure people know that you can take a copy of or a picture with your phone or whatever, screenshot. Her website is on the bottom on the banner. And I would highly encourage anybody that owns a business that really needs that support, check it out because it's very reasonable. And my gosh, that peace of mind is well worth $65 plus. So yeah, I think it's a great deal, LaVonne. I want to kind of go back to, with the businesses that you work with, give us an idea of, what kind of businesses you work with. And I know you're also a speaker and you do workshops. So all of those components are kind of built into what you do too. So let's start with the kind of businesses that you work with. And I want to talk about the workshops that you do.
Okay. So ultimately, if we're talking about the demographics of my ideal target market, right?
Yeah.
It's the small and micro business owner who understands that the numbers mean something. They just aren't quite sure how to understand what they mean. And it kind of goes into just a little brief background on that one. Is accounting is the language of business. That's the
Mhm.
only way that you can unify all of these industries, all of these business models, all of these nuances that make a business a business. The only way to unify them all is the numbers. So you
Yeah.
can't play the game of business without understanding the language of the numbers. So it's very important that you grasp that. So the businesses that I look to work with, or one, have that mentality of saying, I know the numbers are saying something to people about my business. I
Mhm.
just cannot translate it just yet. And it's very important to them that they do. Outside of that, it's really, I've worked with so many different industries. I love working with coaches and consultants because they get the transformational aspect of what's happening. You're you understand that we're fighting against something, especially if you're the kind of person who constantly says, I'm afraid of numbers, I don't like numbers, I'm not a numbers person. Because then I have to remind you, well, if you've been able to maintain a roof over your head and clothes on your back and food on your plate, you're technically a numbers person because it takes numbers to do those things. So
Does.
it's breaking through the barrier. So coaches and consultants love those because they understand that this is a transformational process. And it fits into what's going on with how they see the business of what they do. We all have these gifts that we have, whether it be cooking, coaching, accounting, doctor, all we have a gift, but when you turn it into a business, there's another part of it that it's important that you step away from and step
Mhm.
into, should I say, so that you can see the forest for the trees.
Right.
It's really important to do that, and the numbers are that story. So my target client is definitely those who get it and who understand it's important and want to get it. And then, those who are mainly, I love working with coaches and consultants, like I said, but I've worked with just about every industry out there, and I love it. My client, I don't know how many people say this, but my clients truly make me giggle. They are so freaking hilarious.
Well, you
I
have a
can
sense of
never.
humor, but I mean, that's kind of built into you. You do have a sense of humor.
You
Yeah.
guys make me giggle. Oh my God, chuckle all the time. I was like, I don't know who enjoys working with their clients as much as I do, but I sure do get a lot out of it.
And it's numbers, and you would I mean, it's amazing because you're a wizard when it comes to numbers. I've, worked one-on-one with you where we've gone in and we've looked at QuickBooks and you're just, but I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not a number. I mean, I used to be a numbers girl, but not anymore. I
Once
found,
you know the story of it, so when you lay out your reports, and if you look at them, you go, so what does that mean? So what I tell people all the time is, especially those who are afraid of jumping into like an accounting software, they see QuickBooks or Zero or all of these softwares out there, and they're like,
Mhm.
I don't want to touch it. I don't want anything to do with it. I'm like, that the numbers already frustrate me. But
Yeah.
once you're able to finally get it, what I tell people is, the more you start to ask questions and the more intricate your system's going to be. And there are
Mhm.
experts out there who'll tell you don't start this way, but I still start with a spreadsheet. I actually created a spreadsheet that was designed to simulate what you get in an accounting software. It's a basic, plug it
Yeah.
in. It requires manual entry, which is why you want to use an accounting software. But you
Mm.
you get it in there so you can understand, okay, how do I translate my business into the numbers? And then the more you start asking questions, then it's like, okay, so then where does this lie in your world? And how does that translate to someone outside your world, which, through the numbers? So it's just it's so much, but
It there
it's
No, go ahead, go ahead.
it's because it's not really the numbers aspect. It's really just seeing the value of your habits.
Right. And it's a strategy. It's, when you think about your business, everything is when you're building systems, when you're trying to, be able to afford systems, number one, if you have programs or things like that, you have to generate the revenue to pay for it. Right. And when you look at a business, it's so dynamic and complex, and
While at the
having,
same time being so simple.
yes,
Right?
it is. It really is. I
It's
mean, it's
the
just,
perfect
A,
balance of the
B,
two of
C, D.
those.
Yes, exactly. And that's why I love working with you, because you just simplify everything for me. And I know, you take care of all of our, QuickBooks and our numbers and, our taxes and everything. And I appreciate that. You've done a terrific job. And
I
um,
love what I do, and I appreciate everyone who allows me to do it for them.
yeah, well, you definitely are. And what I love too is you have a new program that you're developing right now, which is similar to EOS, which is and you can share with our audience what that is.
Entrepreneur operating system.
And LaVonne is actually creating a program now where and LaVonne, maybe you can, chime into this, where
Sure.
for those people that know about EOS, and millions of businesses are on this, but not every business is the right size for an EOS
Right.
program.
Right. It's an excellent system. It is
Mhm.
amazing.
It is.
However, yeah, the breakdown and the actual execution of it to really get the best from it is not is designed for businesses that are at a certain stage.
Mhm.
And what I in talking to one of the implementers that we've been working with is we were both saying there's got to be a step up to this,
Mhm.
because this is a great end result to be able to work within this system based off of the book traction. To be able to work within this system should be a objective to get you. However, you got to get your business in place in order to do that. You have to be able to look at your business from the standpoint, and we realize there's got to be a way of doing it. And so we're working on creating right now it's in pilot format that we're going to be running through the Connected Women of Influence. So if you're not a member there, just saying, you
Yeah.
might want to
Shout
consider
out
it,
to
because
Michelle. Michelle.
so just saying on that one. But we're going to run it through there, where we're going to take the core of what the system has to offer, be able to break it down into the basis of where a smaller micro business owner can comprehend it, so that
Mhm.
they can stack their way into it. And so I'm really, really excited to be able to offer that and to work with him to get that organized, because I think that's going to be a game changer for so many business owners.
Oh, it
So
it
many
is.
business
Oh
owners.
my God. And I get so excited about it because I've already implemented so many things. You and I, we have our Monday meetings, we talk about it, and it really does put such focus on your business so that you're not scattered and all over the place. Now you have a
Right.
formula that's going to help to, build the sales, to take care of those big rocks, and, the
Well, you
wonderful.
can see the forest for the trees,
Yeah,
because when you're in
exactly.
it, it's just like everything is there. If you're inside of the painting, you just see the greens, the blues, and it's just all there. But once you can step out of it, you go, oh, it's a tree by
Yeah.
the water. Well, isn't that a pretty
Oh,
picture?
a money
But when
tree,
you're
a
in it, you
money
can't.
tree,
Right. But when
a
you're in
money
it, you
tree.
can't see it.
Yeah.
And so once you're
Oh,
able to step
yeah.
outside of it and see it and appreciate it and go, okay, now I get it. Now I can figure out how to either fix it if it's something that's not working, or enhance it if it's something that's working very well, and be ready to adjust and have fluidity and flexibility in business, because it's allowing you to see what your trends are, and for you to start to get to a point where you're able to predict what they should be based off of you achieving particular tasks, or chunk down goals. So we really, really wanted to make sure that every business owner who wanted this had the
Mhm.
capability of being able to grow their business to get to that stage. Like, that's one of those external identifiers of success of your business. If you have the capability to have this level of management team in your business, leadership
Mm.
team in your business, that means you've grown your business pretty successfully, because that's where all of this get you to, where you have the capability of being able to really, like I say, see it all out in front of you, and you're not doing it all by yourself.
Yeah, it's such a robust program. And like you said, for the micro business, it's going to be more manageable and understandable so that they can be successful with, using EOS, but on a different level. And,
Right.
kind of in closing, LaVonne, because we're coming to the end of the broadcast, what do you see in the future of, businesses that you'll be working with on EOS that's going to be a game changer for them?
I see well, so two things. It's a combination of a prediction that's positive and negative.
Mhm.
We're going to find that many people, as the comprehension of what the game of business truly entails, all of these moving parts that are necessary in order for it to not only survive but to thrive, we're going to
Mhm.
realize that there are some people who realize that entrepreneurship is not for them. Not a bad thing. It's because you can be an entrepreneur. You can be someone who takes ownership of your role in a business that gets it to its success level without being the one who has to manage all the risk. Sometimes that's the part that doesn't work. So I think we're going to see a fluctuation in businesses as this becomes a core conversation that all
Mhm.
businesses are having. In the past, this was a private conversation that you were only having with businesses in that same level of, at that same level in business. Now it's trickling down to where now everyone can understand it. And so you're going to find that many business owners are going to see that if I don't take the time to start working on my business and seeing it from this viewpoint, I'm not going to have a business for very long. I'm not going to be able to have a business for very long now without it being constant strife and frustration and overwhelm. So I think once this becomes a standard conversation, a business 101 conversation that people can truly embrace to the best of their ability, I think what we're going to find is that those businesses are going to flourish a whole lot, and the ones that don't embrace it are going to, the disparity is going to happen pretty quickly, and people are going to realize that, yeah, maybe business isn't for me. Maybe this is just really a good hobby, or maybe I can find someone and I can help bring my talents to their talents and really help them grow something in some way, shape, or form. They can understand the concept and not have to take the risk. So that's kind of what I see happening in the next over the next 2 years, and when it comes to small and micro businesses.
That's great insight. And when you were talking and mentioning that, I'm like, gosh, that makes so much sense. Because there are thousands of businesses, and as we know, when COVID-19 came around, there were a lot of businesses that were flourishing, and there were those businesses that were they closed their doors. Right. And it's kind of the same thing, where not with the pandemic though, of course, but it really is something that is going to, half of the businesses that go on this and the other half that don't, it's a very big comparison, in terms of
if you're not willing to prioritize this comprehension of the working on your business. And I think that it's now time to make sure that that's a standard conversation that's happening, and those who don't want to have it are those who will be left behind. You're not going to be a choice.
Yep. I totally agree. Well, LaVonne, it's been wonderful having you on Luminary Leaders Live, and, knowing that you were my first guest back in, 2020, I think just before the pandemic, you were my very first guest on Speaker Central. So I thank you for coming back and joining me on this new platform.
And thank you for having me.
Yes. And, this is a different, it's a premiere episode because I want to make sure that we put a lot of light on your EOS program that's going to be coming out, and also on the lab that you offer. And we'll make sure that all of your links are in the show notes. And I want to thank our audience for tuning in, for subscribing to our YouTube channel. We were streaming on multiple platforms, probably about 30,000 connections. So that's kind of fun, huh? Having all those eyes on our episode here with LaVonne Shields. So again, LaVonne, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you being on the show and sharing your insights. And we will catch everyone next time. Thank you.